Everyone's watching Nvidia for GPUs, but that's not the real story right now. The real signal is where their engineering focus may be shifting next. If Nvidia into PC CPUs, it could quietly reshape what everyday laptops look like.
For a company that made its name riding shotgun in other people's computers, this is a quiet kind of provocation. The signal isn't a new graphics card, it's a change in where Nvidia seems to be pointing its engineering attention. Over the past few weeks, reporting around Nvidia's internal plans has shifted tone. Instead of the familiar GPU cadence, the chatter centers on a possible push into consumer PC CPUs aimed at laptops and everyday desktops. Not the data center, not a niche developer board, the mainstream machine that people actually carry to class or work. This matters now because the PC market is in the middle of a slow architectural wobble. Windows on ARM has stopped being a curiosity and started to behave like a real option, mostly on the back of battery life and thermals rather than raw speed. Microsoft has leaned on a single partner to make that case. If a second heavyweight steps into that same lane, the conversation changes. It's less about whether ARM belongs on Windows at all, and more about who gets to define what a good ARM PC looks like. The more interesting angle isn't a head-to-head with Intel or AMD on benchmarks. Nvidia already shapes how modern PCs think about graphics and on-device AI. If it controls more of the silicon stack, it can quietly set defaults. Things like which AI features are practical to run locally, how power budgets get split between graphics and compute, or what hardware assumptions software teams start to make. This is the kind of leverage Apple built for itself with its own chips, though the PC ecosystem is messier and far less forgiving of tight control. It's worth downplaying the idea of an overnight disruption here. Even a strong first CPU would land in a market that moves cautiously and tests newcomers for years. There's also a trade-off that tends to get lost in the hype. More platform options usually help hardware competition, but they also stretch software support thin. Windows on ARM still carries gaps in compatibility that only show up in boring everyday workflows. A new CPU vendor doesn't fix that on day one. It adds another target for developers to care about, which is healthy long-term and awkward in the short term. What's happening, quietly, is a shift in where the center of gravity might move for the PC. The story isn't that Nvidia wants to replace the CPU incumbents tomorrow. It's that the definition of a normal PC is being nudged toward designs that assume local AI and tighter integration as table stakes. That direction has been forming for a while. This would just make it harder to ignore.